Book 3. The Council of the Ages. Chapter 9. Part 4. Burgius Luminen, it doesn't ring a bell to me. Normally, in the Age of the Damned, a lot of important knowledge was lost. Kush examined the specimen before giving a verdict. It does not seem to be a work published for the general public. Gorsburg, while examining other books, added, "Perhaps it is not a work for everyone. If it was in this room it is surely a rare copy and with very valuable knowledge, not just anything is published on Lamkla sheets." Agnorok began to read the book's prologue. Contrary to what they want us to believe in the farewell of the gods, not as it happened as an abandonment because we were already prepared to take care of Sharnaris. It was a punishment for the treachery of the elves. In this book I expose the evidence that reveals this betrayal by our people, the conspiracy of the elves to expel the gods and seize power over all of Sharnaris. Gorsburg lit a cigarette. Kush's eyes widened. The elves betrayed the gods. Maybe not all of them. The hidden ones were always faithful to Elaban, which is why they were appointed in the temple. Agnorok quickly flipped through the pages, recounting the demonic wars, the struggle of all the races of Sharnaris against the demons, the struggle at Itzamir. Perhaps the Age of the Damned was a new punishment from the gods to the elves. The last part of the book caught his attention. The pages were of a different color and another calligraphy. It seemed from another book that had been added to this copy. Chronicle of the Creation of Sharnaris. There were a series of illustrations on the first pages of the book. They were recognizable silhouettes. Kendalis, Agnorok knew this truth. The Kendalis were the first to be created by the gods and not the elves. It is actually the Kendalis who are the protectors of Sharnaris. But they were banished from the palace of heaven and forever. Except for those who wander around, they rarely leave their mysterious realm. Agnorok took the book. It was too valuable to leave in the library. Perhaps those who consulted the book were looking to find a solution to the damned. Maybe the book wasn't in this library, or in this room. A secret room? We can't know. I doubt that such a book was in plain sight. Kush took 3 or 4 volumes of Lamkla leaves to consult them as well. Gorsburg did not take anything since if it was not drink or food it was not interesting to him. It may be the work of a madman, it contradicts everything we know. You know what they say, the crazy and the drunk are the only ones who tell the truth. They did some research among the library shelves, but decided to return before anyone missed them. They did not tell anyone about their discovery in the library, although they did not hide their nocturnal walk. Agnorok was more suspicious of the elves. If as this book said they had already betrayed the gods, it is very likely that they would do it a second time. The next morning Tanya woke up. The first thing she did was see her reflection in a bowl of clean water. She touched her cheek again, but she still didn't believe it. The deformation had accompanied her all her life. It was the cause of his repudiation and discrimination within the royal court, which motivated his enlistment in the Brothers of Danta Oka, where thanks to his courage and skill he was able to rise. But even within the Brotherhood, because of its deformation it was never fully accepted. They said it was cursed. Now he was free and afraid. Now he couldn't blame the deformity for his bad luck. He felt a hand on his back. The dwarf raised her head. It was Agnorok who sat next to her. "How are you?" "Well, you know it's weird." "Strange." "Yes, my neck feels different. It's as if my head weighs less." The half-orc observed the dwarf. Dwarfs are not usually very graceful. They usually have short but very robust limbs, large eyes and noses. Even the ears are usually disproportionate in size. But Tanya was very beautiful. She could compete even with women or half-elves, who used to be the most beautiful. Although he kept quiet about that, he didn't want to make the dwarf blush. Since he didn't know what to tell him, he decided to get up. The sun was already high and he had decided to continue exploring the cursed city. Let's see if I could visit the great castle that dominated the coast. Why did they give me this? Don't worry, be patient for sure. you will end up knowing it. They were immersed in a boring monotony for a week. The truth is that Arian and Aris were concentrating on solving the problems that existed within the order. Many things had to be specified about how to solve the problem. Perform the rites of the order, or what the day-to-day life of the priests and novices would be like. They tried to consult the ancient books of the temple. Meanwhile, Agnorok and Kush analyzed an old enigma that intrigued them both, the glyphs that referred to the hidden ones. But apart from the small review of the book found in the library, they could not find out anything else. Now it was a much more mysterious subject than before. What did the reference to those hidden in an elf temple do if they had betrayed the gods? The only conclusion is that the end of the age of the gods was not as everyone thought. It was dusk in the temple of Elaban. Arian prayed with his priests and novices, the two jewels glittering before the prayer of the high priestess. Aris, Vanus and Ariana also prayed with the company of Tanya, who since her healing did not miss any vigil. While Kush and Agnorok watched them from a distance, at the entrance, but they were immersed in other thoughts. I don't understand it. Who put those glyphs here? If what the book says is true, those glyphs were to be removed by the elves. Kush watched the vigil in silence. Perhaps they had no choice. They could not erase them. In my land there is a deep cave with that same glyph. Legend says that it is the key that protects the entrance to an underground kingdom. So you continue to play the sages who search for underground ruins. The two turned. It was Gorsburg who, as always, appeared unexpectedly and lit a cigar as he sat down. Kush smiled and Agnorok straightened up. Especially you should show a little respect. The Denkka took a big drag without commenting, so Agnorok decided to keep talking about the subject of the hidden ones. Maybe he could get something out of it. I remember when in Tame we went through the Passage of the Shadows, which was used by the iron smugglers. You told me that you had visited the lower levels. You may have seen the glyph of those hidden in those galleries. Which glyph? Agnorok had the glyph written down in a small notebook that he sometimes used as a diary and in which the half-orc wrote down some things. He showed it to the Denkka, who narrowed his eyes while he continued smoking. Here you are again with that tale of the hidden ones. Did you find that stamp in Tame? Gorsburg smiled at Agnorok's question. Yes, it was a long time ago, even Ordoni was thin. The mage and the half-orc fell silent. And the door was open. Open? Yes. Did you enter the realm of the occult? Gorsburg drained his cigar all the way and then walked away for a moment, the couple too anxious about a possible affirmative answer that did not come. They both knew that trying to get Gorsburg to answer if he didn't want to was a waste of time. The prayers ended and before long what the three of them were talking about would be the center of everyone's attention. You know where there's another glyph? It's very close to here. Where? Asked the two in unison. On the wall that the mags created to contain the damned, right in the place where the incantation of protection was recited. Could you take us there? You can't get lost, you just have to follow the course of the river that crosses this city. In 3 days of quiet marching you arrive.